So I'm turning 50 in a week, which has been on my mind a lot lately, and not in a bad way. I've actually really been looking forward to turning 50, but even more so now. If you follow me on social media, you'll know that I just recently lost my cousin who was 51. And that has me thinking about it even more, about how I want to approach aging and what sort of things I really want to focus on as I enter a new decade. And what I've come up with is I want to feel as strong physically and mentally as I possibly can. Because the habits that you implement now, if you're in your 40s, 50s, those can really predict how well your aging process is going to be when you get to your 80s and 90s. So what you do now really matters. And so if you're at this point in your life and you want some help deciphering what to focus on, I'm going to break down what I found in my research is the most effective for aging in as healthy way as possible. And so it's not just about living as many years as you can. It's about the quality of life that you'll have as you get into those later years. That's probably what I think about the most, especially with not having children. I feel like it's going to be on us to take care of ourselves in those later years. And so I want to be healthy for as long as possible. So if you're new to my channel, please go ahead and click that subscribe button and let's get into this video. And so you guys know that I am the biggest fan of red light therapy. I've been using it on my hair for several years now. I use it on my face, and now one thing that I've added is using it on my body. And you guys, I'm so excited about this. This is the newest launched from iRestore. This is the iRestore Sculpt Belt. It's a Velcro belt that has LED panels inside of it. So the significance of this is you can use it pretty much anywhere on your body. And why that's important is because if you are suffering from any sort of joint pain, which yes, as you get into your 40s and 50s, unfortunately, that is something that does happen. But if you have joint pain, if you have circulation issues, if you're experiencing any sort of inflammation, and if you want to help your body recover more efficiently, this is going to be your new best friend. And so how this works is that it has triple wavelength technology. And so what each wavelength of light does is different from the other. So the 630 nanometer wavelength will help to support collagen production and give you more smooth skin, which is fantastic. The 850 nanometers will help to support circulation and recovery. So if you have any sore spots, I feel like every year now I find some sort of new spot that feels sore that didn't feel like that before. Right now it's on my outer upper thigh. My upper arms are sore sometimes, which can actually happen to a lot of women that are going through perimenopause or menopause. And so if you're experiencing any sort of inflammation as well, and if you want to help your muscles to recover quicker from your workouts, that's where that wavelength really comes into play. And then finally, the 940 nanometer helps to target your deeper tissues. And that's significant because it helps to support pain relief. So if you're experiencing that pain, it will help with that. And also if you're looking for any sort of body contouring, this can help with that as well. And so how it works is it comes with an adapter, and there are 3 levels of intensity in terms of how bright you want the light. And then with that, so like if you want a little bit less of a bright light, the level 1, you'll wear it for 30 minutes. The level 2, you wear it for 20 minutes. And then level 3, which is the brightest light, you'll wear it for 10 minutes. And so you just plug it in and then you can just wrap it on yourself. Yesterday, I was using it on my shoulder because I was having shoulder pain as well as neck pain right over here. So I just sort of wrapped it around myself and then Velcroed it into place. You obviously want to be wearing this underneath your clothes, but I'm just showing you how it works. And then you just press the power button from here, just hold it down, and the red light turns on. And so then I like how it wraps around as well. And it's just so easy to use. And this device is FDA cleared as well. And so I'm going to be using it for the next few months, and I'm going to test it on different parts of my body, as well as if you guys want to see like a body contouring benefit of it, let me know in the comments below, and I'll start wearing it around my midsection and I'll measure the inches and let you know if there's been any difference. Let me know if you want to see that in the comments and I can start doing that for you. And I will come back with an update on how well it works. But this, so far, just from using it on my shoulder, I can feel like significantly that my shoulder pain went down. And so if you guys want to save on your own, I'll put a link and code in the description box below so you can check that out. Someone wanted to say hi. This girl makes me smile so much. This is Vivi. Now that I am successfully covered in dog fur, let's move on to the next point. And this ties in directly with the red light therapy for sore muscles, is strength training. This is something that Derek and I are actively trying really hard to make a priority in our lives, because muscle composition in your body will be the biggest predictor of how healthy your bones are, how much stability you have in your body, how much flexibility you have. And this is so incredibly important, especially for women, because you know that our bone density starts to decrease, especially after we go through perimenopause and menopause, because that reduction in estrogen really affects our bones. So strength training is super important because it helps to rebuild that bone density. So even if you're experiencing a little bit of bone density loss, like if you're in osteopenia, which is a step right before osteoporosis, focusing on strength training can help to strengthen your bones. And so it's not really about going to the gym and hitting the elliptical or whatever. It's more about getting into the weight room and using the strength training machines and lifting heavier weights to actively build that muscle and strengthen your bones. And if you're South Asian or Indian like me, you know that our parents' generation didn't really prioritize strength training. At least mine didn't, and none of my aunts and uncles really focused on that. So it's part of like learning and implementing this new habit and making it part of new culture that you're moving forward with, and that you can show the younger generation that this is actually a very important priority. I don't actually have any children, but I do think a lot about all of my nieces and nephews. I have tons of them. Pretty much most of my cousins have children. And so I am aware of the fact that they are watching us and watching how we live our lives. And I just want to set a really great example for them. And I don't want 50 to sound scary. I want 50 to sound exciting. And honestly, just like a side note, I truly do think that 50 is exciting. I feel like it's just the halfway mark, and I'm determined to make the second half even better than the first half. I don't want to demonize aging. I just want to age as best as I possibly can. Everyone has to follow their own journey. I'm just trying to help encourage you to think of this time as like a fresh new beginning. And especially with my cousin passing, I really wish that he could have had that fresh second half of his life. So I just want to live the best second half that I can live in honor of him, because he's not here to do it for himself. Okay, now that we've got that heaviness out, the third thing that I want to talk about that I'm really prioritizing now is walking. So I know that I was talking about not really focusing so much on aerobic activity, but walking is completely different. Walking is such a healthy, beneficial thing that you can do, not just for your hair growth, it's really great for that as well, but just for your body in general, for your mind. It helps to clear your mind as you're walking. You can listen to audiobooks, you can listen to podcasts, anything that is going to enrich your life. I really like to listen to a lot of self-development things. If that's something that you're interested in knowing about, let me know and I'll share more about what I like to listen to and read and stuff. But it really also helps to boost circulation in your body. And circulation is so important because you want that really oxygenated blood traveling throughout your body. That's something they talk about a lot in Chinese medicine and in yoga as well. Okay, and another thing that I want to talk about is diet. So this is something that I've kind of struggled with for pretty much my whole life. Like I grew up when I was in my teens, it was the 90s. It was all about that really like waif, Kate Moss, super thin body type, that how much of the percentage actually has that body type naturally. There's a lot of pressure to be super skinny, and that led to a lot of eating disorders. And I know I definitely had a disordered way of looking at eating. So I probably started my first diet at like 17. So I was on and off diets my whole life. And then with autoimmune related hair loss, being on the AIP diet, which I wouldn't change for anything because it really truly does help so much if you have autoimmune disease. But that sort of pattern of eating, if you already are prone to disordered eating, that can really add fuel to that fire. So you have to be very careful. So I've had to work really hard to come to a place where I eat a little bit more intuitively. And that is something that I have been practicing a lot lately, is to eat primarily healthy where I can, focus on nutrient density. So getting a lot of my nutrients from foods, vegetables, protein, and then not saying no to things that I want to eat just for fun. So having a really balanced approach to eating. I think if you're somebody who has disordered eating patterns, if you can find a way to eat like this and look more into intuitively eating for your body and paying attention to hunger cues and eating to a point where not necessarily like where you're super full, but that you're no longer hungry. There are a lot of really great books out there that help with that. And that I think also comes with age too, that you kind of see the pattern that you put yourself through and you just want to live a more balanced life. And that kind of just like spreads to every area of your life. And lastly, something that I want to talk about, and this is probably one of the most important things that you can do for yourself as you get into your 40s and 50s, and that is mental health support. If you have never spoken to a therapist or counselor in your life and you feel like you just don't feel right inside your mind, inside your body, mental health support can be such a game changer. I have been through the whole range from psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, counselor, pretty much since I was about 18. That was something when I was diagnosed with premature ovarian insufficiency. The doctor had suggested that I start seeing somebody. And so on and off throughout my life, I could see people here and there. But it wasn't until about a year and a half ago where I got super regular with it and started seeing a therapist once a week. And it has made a world of difference because there are so many things that we don't know how to deal with. We just don't have the tools. It's nothing against your parents or people that are around you who raised you or whatever. They might not have necessarily had the tools to deal with things as well, but seeking out mental health support has been such a game changer for me. I feel so much stronger mentally. And why that's significant is because stress, trauma, all of these things can live inside of your body and they can definitely have such a huge impact on your health. So speaking to somebody can help you to process those traumas and get that energy out and to free up your body so that your reparative pathways are clearer, your circulation can improve, you can let go of that stress and tension that you've been holding in your body. And one thing that I want to say is that if you start working with a therapist and it just doesn't feel like a right fit, please do not stop, do not give up, find someone else. That person might just not be the right person for you. I know it myself, I have gone through a few different therapists in the past and like 5-6 sessions in and I'm just like, something doesn't feel right here. And I've asked to switch to somebody else and I've gone and I've found probably the best therapist that I've found in my whole entire life. And I know that it can be really scary. I know a lot of us can have things that maybe we don't necessarily want to deal with from our past. And once you start working on it, you might find that it's really raw and it's bringing up a lot of emotion and it feels difficult to get through. But one thing that my therapist said that really stuck with me is that it's like, when you have a wound, sometimes you have to really dig deep in there and clean all that stuff out and it's gonna hurt. But once you clear all that stuff away, then you can start to heal. And eventually you do feel better. So I hope that these tips were helpful and there's something that you can take away from this video. Again, aging well is not about necessarily just looking your best. It's about also feeling really good inside and feeling healthy and feeling strong, both physically and mentally. And like I said, just making the second half the best half. And so thanks so much for watching, guys. Thank you to iRestore for sponsoring this video, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Take care.